Rock and roll. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, HUI with HOKA, episode 25. What a milestone. It's Saturday, the 26th of October, with myself, of course, as per usual. Timothy Stevens from Adapt Media covering us today, alongside, and that's a first as well, Mr. Ben Anthony Wilson. So now we not just have one media wizard, we have two. So yeah, stay tuned how that's gonna turn out eventually throughout the podcast episode. So slightly different format, but yet still the same. And today we're gonna talk to Mr. Troy Bourke on ADHD and BJJ, but also his past, present, and future in relation to Christina, Cotton Candy, Wash, Jabba, Scooby Snacks, Dunk, or better known as Meth. Troy, please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me, first and foremost. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
My name's Troy Bourke. I am 33 years old. I am a purple belt in Jiu-Jitsu now, but for 10 years of my life, I was a ruthless addict to meth and stimulants in general. I fell into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and have used the holistic practices that I learned in that and were taught to me from my coach at the time to pull my life together, and with my love for martial arts and the fight game, I have sort of managed to tweak my life to somewhere where I am somewhat happy with where I am now and the progress that I've made.
You
And
look happy to me.
yeah, man, yeah. I wake up with a smile, man. You know, it's the sun's up. It's a good day.
Aye.
And yeah, I'm at a point where I want to use the struggles that I have been through and the lessons that I've learned from going through those struggles to help other people, obviously, that either deal silently with mental health issues or drug issues. And yeah, I find jiu-jitsu and martial arts is the key, especially in my life and story. Yeah.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit. ADHD, just to clarify, is an attention deficit slash hyperactivity disorder.
Yes.
Correct? And struggles can unfold in many different forms or shapes. I guess today is more so about your particular example, because there's, like I said, different forms or shapes, different types.
Yep.
But do you want to just share, maybe, let's give 3 examples to the audience on how it affects your life in particular, as far as it comes to daily tasks, relationships, and maybe work even. Maybe you can give one each and just elaborate a little bit on that.
Daily tasks, I would say, would have to be procrastination and the lack of executive function to do something, because especially with ADHD, we sort of base our value on our productivity, and as hyperactive as we are and as creative as we are, translating that into progress or into starting anything is the hardest task. So literally every single day, I wake up and immediately my brain's like, we didn't get this, and this done yesterday. We've got to do this, and this. If I woke up at 7 o'clock and I was meant to told myself last night I was going to get up at 5:30, I'm like, righto, I'm already hour and a half behind on production. Like productivity, sorry. And it can be you can be your own worst enemy while also trying to be your own biggest supporter. It's such a battle. That's just in personal life. With work, I struggled a long time with regular jobs. Started a job and would love it, genuinely would love it, would enjoy the learning process. But as soon as it became slightly monotonous, or I had finished the initial learning and then it was just the day in, day out, it would kill me. It would literally feel like I was wasting my time being there when I could be learning something else. But with the ADHD, there's so many things that I've started learning and hyper focused on for a little while, and then just lost interest on. Not obviously it's through the ADHD from learning that now, with my young fella being diagnosed and me having my re-diagnosis earlier on in the year. But ADHD is
Maybe
it's
go
not
from
nice.
there to the relationships. How does it affect the relationships?
Bro, relationships definitely. One of the big things with ADHD is emotional regulation, and if you don't understand ADHD, a lot of the time you can just feel like you're explosive, or you kind of don't understand yourself, why you do some of the things that you do, your reactions to things, this, that, and the other. And then from learning that, especially with the relationships, like if I'm hyper focusing on anything, any outside distraction, you can have like temper flare ups, or like you can be not very level. It's hard to do that. And then, with having a neurotypical partner that doesn't have those things and doesn't have the hyper focus and is able to switch tasks and go back to things, it can sometimes feel like there is you're playing a tug of war, when we're playing a tug of war internally as well.
It all makes a lot of sense to me. And to be fair, I don't know, for the audience listening or watching, I don't know, maybe we bring Tim in here. When I listen to this, Tim, maybe your thoughts on this too, is I'm like, that doesn't sound too crazy to me, like a disorder or like it's a condition or however you want to phrase it. I'm like, yeah, I struggle with my job sometimes, I get like bored, or, like I feel like I've accomplished something, or I wake up and be like, oh, I haven't done this yesterday, let's get this done, You probably feel the same, from conversations I had with him. But how crazy must it be in your head that then it becomes like something that is a burden? I don't know, like...
I'm sitting here feeling extremely validated right now, because I can relate to 100%. I've never been diagnosed, but I'm like, man, maybe I need to go see a doctor, because I can relate to the temper flare-ups. Like, focused on my work, everything's going really well, and then I thought about something, and then now I can't focus on that, and I'm a different person. And I don't understand it. It's hard to really explain, because other people from the outside might look at it and just be like, oh, you haven't had enough sleep, or you just need to meditate, or something like that. I don't know. But the workplace, the drastic learning, and then I've gone 18 months to 2 years is my point, and then I need to move, and then I need to move.
Yeah, man.
Now trying to get to that point, you go, all right, now this is the wall. Stick it.
Yeah.
Keep staying. And don't just leave. But everyone struggles with their jobs, like you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, those thoughts, it doesn't sound too, like I said, too outworldish, or, like out of space. Like, yeah, I can relate to that. That makes sense, relationship. I mean, we all cut from a different cloth, yet it's all the same, like we're all human beings. We all struggle with emotions, X, Y, Z. But I guess that's what we're here for also today, to understand you better, because best case scenario, I'm going to take my being into your body, and it's like, oh, this is how Troy feels. This is how those people, sorry, I don't want to, but this is how someone with ADHD feels, like this is, but yeah, I guess hopefully we bring some more clarity throughout the pod into it. But let's tackle it from a different angle. So it's okay, you struggle with X, Y, Z, like daily tasks, relationship, work, and it weaves through your life, and it's always there. But the remedy that you found is, in that case, and it's something that you're just so passionate about, is the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. How does it help you with the condition to just go through life?
I feel like training jiu-jitsu, because I'm a very competitive person.
Oh yeah, sorry,
I love to compete.
I also forgot that you've got an athletic background, that, when you were younger.
Yeah. I've always been into sports. Always love to win, but I'm a gracious loser. Like, I understand the 2 points. If you're going into a battle or a competition, one's going to be the victor, one's going to be the loser. And I love winning, and as they say, you don't lose, you learn. Obviously you do lose, but there's always lessons in why you lost, type of thing. It's ADHD's. it's very difficult. And as you're saying, like there's lots of you struggle with the things that I'll be talking about, and that people, everyday people, struggle with ADHD symptoms, but people that have ADHD struggle with those symptoms every single day of their life, from morning to wake up.
I reckon what we have to do is here we go a step further to bring in another variable into the equation that will probably then make more sense when you look at it holistically, because the BJJ helps you as far as it comes to you have like something to focus on, and the focus point. And Timna's BJJ, Ben started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, a few months back, and you're a purple belt, and we all have like in the room this understanding of what it does to you. You're facing an issue, a problem that is like ever changing, but it's like right in front of you.
Yep.
You have to react. You have to be responsive, and you just have to, like overcome to not get submitted or not get hurt. However you want to look at it. But another thing that is thrown out there, and for someone who doesn't understand, as far as it comes to ADHD, to give a cure or to help you go through life would be medication. Do you think that medication for someone with ADHD is required or even necessary to help you to go through life?
There's definitely levels of ADHD. Medication on ADHD is a very weird area, because obviously a lot of the ADHD medication is stimulant based. A lot of people take the medication and their heart rate might rise, like a lot of people, I've talked just literally last weekend, a guy got diagnosed earlier on in the year, started taking medication and hated how he felt on it. So he stopped the medication and he's starting to look at other remedies. There's the big thing with grappling with ADHD is, as you're saying, you've got one problem in front of you. If you're not focusing on trying to pass his guard, trying to keep the posture in the triangle, the basic things, if your mind's wandering elsewhere, you're going to get caught, you're going to get submitted, you're going to get broken down, bang, bang, bang. I find jiu-jitsu, grappling, any sort of martial arts is very meditative. It's a very meditative state, especially for me personally. So I've always found, before I was on medication and started jiu-jitsu, it helped pulling my life in together, because instead of giving in to every want that my body needed, like, oh, I'll do this or that, like giving into my impulses, my brain was having the rest from the hyperactivity when I'm in the grappling state. Like if you're chest to chest underneath someone, you're not thinking about anything else. It's frames, getting your half guard back, elbows, knees, hands, feet, building that space, like you can hyper focus on it. And I think that has been one of the biggest things for me with grappling, is the hyper focus on just that single task at hand quietens my mind. Because the second I wake up in the morning, my mind is telling me, from the second I wake up, and then I talk, and I'm still learning these things myself now, like, would have been a couple of months ago, I literally said this to my ex-partner, like I was like, oh man, as soon as I wake up in the morning, my brain's like just telling me I've got so many things to do, or I haven't done this, that, and the other. And she's like, oh man, I just get up and think, oh, I'll have a coffee and look outside. And I'm like, what? Like, is your mind not like telling you that, that you're useless, or, you'll be unproductive and that? But so it's a learning process. But yeah, the martial arts to me is huge because of the hyper focus that you get and the meditative state from it. So many times you do a hard training session and you drive home and you won't even put the radio on, you won't even put music on or something. You just end up driving home, and then like you're home and you're like, whoa man, I just drove home in silence. Like I find it, I meditate, I do breath work, but I still find the best meditative practice is deep in the trenches and hard rolls, or focusing on that technique.
So it's like normal people, right? I mean, not to use the word normal, but other people would say, oh, I need a rest, and they'll go rest. But it sounds like when you're resting, you're like, oh, I can't, I'm not working, I'm not doing something. So your rest is, I need to go to war.
Yeah.
War, and then you can rest. You are resting. Your mind is resting because it's focused on one thing, not 10.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, that's the thing. I can get that mental rest that I need instead of my mind just going all the time, because it's very tiring when your mind's running all the time. You always, your mind's, I feel with ADHD, you're always beating yourself up for the things that you haven't done. And that's the thing, when you go to rest, most people see it as, okay, I'm resting now and I'm building up my energy for more productivity. Whereas with me, with other ADHD people, when we rest, we're like, we're being useless right now. I could get 3 or 4 things cut on some media, I could do some editing, like, instead of saying, oh no, I'm just going to rest and let my body recuperate, like, well, yeah, you look at yourself as being unproductive. And as that's one thing that I've learned recently, is that it makes complete sense, is we base our self-worth on our productivity. And if we don't be productive 110%,
Where does that? Oh, sorry.
if you're not being productive 100%, 10% of the time, then that battle in your mind definitely turns to a negative one. And then obviously, like, it's the things that we learn, it's the words that we say to our own mind and to ourselves.
It's even with the breath work that you put on the table here earlier, is that you focusing on your breath. That's
Yeah.
that one thing. Yeah, like if you can't think of anything else, because
Yeah.
otherwise it won't work. But with the mental health, like once you stop, everything like creeps into your head, the imposter, whatever it might
Yeah.
be, and you're like, oh, I got to do something to shut this off. So you're looking for, I guess the word is a positive distraction, or something that you can focus on. In that case, your body, your being, you have decided to latch onto Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
But let's park the Jiu-Jitsu here for a little bit. Let's park the ADHD for a little bit. We talked about medication. You made it very clear that it is to be looked at in an individual sense.
Yep.
Some people react to different medication in a certain way. For some, it's just the medication. For some, you can, in your example, you can combine some of the medication works for you with your Jiu-Jitsu.
Yep.
And you're feeling good about yourself, like further down the line. But let's go from medication to medication, because for 10 years, a decade, you've been, and excuse me for saying that straight forward, but it's true, abusing yourself,
100%.
with the meth to like cope and go through life. Maybe you want to elaborate on a phrase that is once an addict, you're always an addict. Do you think that's true or false? And because you are the example of the lived experience, like
Yep.
you can look back on 10 years of like, oh, I've done this. How do I feel today? And now we have, to bring it back 360 circle, we've got the ADHD, we've got the medication, and we've got the BJJ. Where do you sit today, and how does that all like intertwine and affect you as a person sitting here on this couch for episode 25?
For 10 years, yeah, I was addicted to, pretty much from 16 to 26. I started with MDMA, bit of partying on the weekend with the boys, few lines, and then I started bouncing at a club in Hamilton when I was 17, I think I was. And then I was working a day job also, and I was asleep one time at work, just crashed out on Saturday morning because I've been working the Thursday and the Friday, and my person that I worked with at the time said, oh, go in and there's something under I was reading performance car magazines at the time, and she said, there's something under your performance car magazine. And it was open on the table, and I lifted it open, and there was a line on the table, and I was like, oh, what's this? She's like, oh, it's a bit of speed, hit it, and I was a partier, so I did it, and it felt great. I wasn't on medication. I wasn't even diagnosed for ADHD for the first time at this stage, and I enjoyed the hit that it gave me, and it just obviously got worse and worse. But looking back on it now, I was self-medicating. It made me feel calm. People that smoke meth, crackheads, all this type of thing, you always think of these crazy people on the street yelling at nothing and, like chasing the pigeons around and all that kind of stuff, whereas, like there's crazy people, on gear everywhere type of thing. It's very common. I was able to focus and do things. I'd be far more social. And because I was never crazy on it or anything, like, well, my teeth didn't fall out and all that kind of stuff, I was able to do it for a long time secretly. It made me feel good. I got all the dopamine hits that my ADHD brain was after all the time, but it was also medicating me with the stimulant base. So I was able to focus, I was able to do things, but staying up for 4 days at a time is not good. You know, like I was over in the mines in Aussie, and I'd finish on a Tuesday morning, and I wouldn't go to sleep until Friday or something. Like we'd just be out riding our motorbikes, smoking crack. Like it was, yeah, it was crazy, but it was never crazy out of control that it needed outside input to help pull me off the meth type of thing. I was always looking at it as I wasn't looking at anything. I was never doing any self-evaluation or anything like that. It was just, this is feeling good, this is going right now, I'm enjoying this, and just following the dopamine. So when I was unmedicated and using meth all the time, it was a medication for me. So when I was doing my 2 weeks on at work, I was looking forward to the Tuesday morning, getting off work and smoking some gear with a mate, because it was a relaxant, this, that, and the other. We were getting drug tested all the time over in the mine, so you know there was no cannabis, no weed around. Everyone was just on meth, or there was a lot of heroin. There was a lot of heroin around, man. It was crazy. It was a crazy.
I should be laughing, but I'm like, wow, that sounds like.
Bro, it's
you know,
a crazy story.
When you don't know that a certain world or a certain society, community part exists, and then you hear about it.
Yeah.
Also, remember, and we talked about this a few weeks back off camera. Like you kept saying to me how great it makes you feel, and what a great time you had, and all the things that you got done, and you still lived a fulfilled life. And I was like, this almost sounds like a Willy Wonka ticket. This is too good to be true.
Yeah.
How can this be out there? And that, I was like, that's crazy, you know? Not feeling intrigued that I would never ever, but thinking about like there's something like that out there that you can do on a daily basis to make you feel, but you can't always be just up.
You get the crashes, you have to sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes, so this is a random thing, literally sometimes after being awake for 4 days, 5 days, when I was laying in bed going to sleep, I would genuinely wonder if I was going to wake up again. Like I so many times thought, am I just gonna go to sleep now and die? Like I would worry sometimes that I was gonna go to sleep and sleep for 48 hours. Like, meth's, but as you're saying, meth's horrible drug. It completely changes your social circle and everything. But of all the drugs that I've done, I loved meth the most.
Wow.
The whole part of it. The smoking it, the snorting it, whatever it wasn't even like a lot of people I feel are addicted to the smoking side of things, or I've talked to a lot of heroin addicts or people that have got off heroin that have literally injected themselves with hot water and stuff, with warm water while getting off heroin to still feel the warm rush through their arm and stuff. Like I feel like a lot of people are addicted to the process. Like a lot of people are addicted to just smoking it. A lot of people are addicted to just injecting it, you know, like whereas I always enjoyed smoking it or snort. I enjoyed meth as a whole.
Maybe I should ask you this way. You know, when you hit the teenage years and you have that experimental phase where all of a sudden you can buy alcohol, you know, you meet people, you can go out, and then drugs come into your life. I mean, I know a bunch of people, and you know, we all tried a thing or two for our lifetime, but that's the teenage years, and then you go on this like 10-year, you get sucked in. You had an athletic background, you get fully pulled away from it, you are overweight. Because what was your highest weight at some point?
I stopped weighing myself at 160 kilo.
Yeah.
Because
you did also say to me a wee while ago that you had the fear of not being able to breathe while sleeping because you were so overweight, like just like your lungs, like your body just couldn't function.
100%.
However, we talked about the highs that the meth and whatever else you took and whatever else made you feel good gives you, but then after 10 years, the crash.
Yeah.
And then I guess this is also when the catalyst of martial arts and the other things came into your life. Is that correct? Do you want to speak on that maybe, when the light was all of a sudden there at the end of the tunnel and you pull yourself out?
Bro, my turning point for me was I come home from Aussie, pretty much ran away from the job and everything that I had, left literally I moved into a house that was fully furnished, and I literally one night after work left work early from the mines, got my driller at the time to drop me back to my house, bro. I literally booked a ticket to New Zealand home and chucked my keys inside the house, shut the door, messaged the landlord, and pretty much ran back to New Zealand type of thing, because it was just getting it. There was no progress. It was
Did
getting
you
worse
conclude
and
that
worse.
for yourself? Like, was it like, fuck, I'm in this position right now, I need to get away from this? Or did someone tell you? Or what was the trigger for, like, I leave this even though you felt so great?
It was definitely, yeah, it was. There's pretty much, I've had 3 points throughout the addiction phase where I feel like I was at rock bottom and realized it. But you never realize when you're on the way down. There's a saying that I've read recently that just is so amazing. It feels like hell on the way to heaven. It feels like heaven on the way to hell. And I'm like, man, you know, the hard training sessions, when you're dripping in sweat, when you can't breathe. It feels horrible at the time, you know, we all love it, but you're getting better and better, you know. And then, like, for, let's say, Conor McGregor, for an example, you know, like, now, you know, look at him, it feels like heaven on the way to hell, you know. Now he's doing his crazy drinking, this, that, and the other, and, like, I don't think he's going to fight again type of thing, you know. Like, it was, the 3 points for me was, I was in Huntley years ago on meth, and I'd pretty much sold my ute, my only means of transport, for like a quarter gram of meth from some patched up dude in Nguruwahia. And that was pretty much a turning point. And then I kind of had to change my social circle, because I realized that I was doing nothing, going nowhere, and I was only getting worse and worse and worse. So I had to change my social circle, because you have to completely change. Meth heads only want to be around people that do meth and think it's okay. And people that don't do meth never think it's okay to do meth. So your whole social circles change. Your friends that you've grown up with for 10 years, bro, you'll just disappear on them, because these 5 or 6 dudes that you hang out with and smoke gear with on the weekends, you know, like, these people don't want to associate with you anymore. And so this becomes your family. So you have to completely change your social circle and, like, turn your back on everybody that was your friend to be able to get off it. I changed my social circle, was still undiagnosed ADHD, this first part. And so I kept using secretly in another group. And so I'd still get it off old mate and then hang out with the new people. And then it got to the point, again, it just sort of carried on. Jobs were failing through, this, that, and the other. And my mate moves over to Aussie, and he was like, bro, I'm in the mines. Come over with me. Moved over to Aussie to try and build myself and get off the gear again, you know. Like, people sort of didn't know at the time that it was just me. You know, I was like, okay, I need to get away, over to Aussie, get off the gear, you know. Cool, going over to mining town, sweet, make heaps of cash. Went over to Aussie, and the dude that I was living with was one of the biggest dealers at the time. That was when I first moved over there. He initially wasn't, but within a month or two, he was buying heaps out of Perth, buying heaps off the original Silk Road. Like, it would come in like a little musical jewelry box. You know, you open it up and a ding, 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 and then rip it out, and there's an ounce of gear underneath it. You know, off Silk Road coming in from Canada, like
Gear.
Yeah, we called it gear. But yeah, and then literally, bro, the 3 points, and then so there, I realised once I was in the mine, that same kind of thing, I just had to get away from it and pretty much run back to New Zealand. Moved down to Napier, got a job at the ports down there, and same thing again. I got diagnosed in between those 2 stages when I got down to Napier, but I wasn't using my medication because I was smoking crack at the time. And crack felt like my medication. Well, the medication felt like crack, but it was slightly cleaner. So for like one period, I was taking my slow release pill in the morning and then scratching the slow release off another one and taking that, just so I'd get through and then do my day truck driving and then go get some gear in the evening and that type of thing.
That doesn't sound sustainable to me.
Yeah, bro. And then my third part. I was at the port, still addicted to meth and everything. 160 kilo, was on blood pressure medication. Couldn't even get through a full sentence without having to take weird points to breathe, this, that, and the other, because just obviously the stress on my body. Bro, my blood pressure was crazy through the roof. And I was at one of my boys' places that I worked with, and we were just sitting around drinking, just being no-hopers. And One of my good mates, Oscar Peterson from Gracie Allegiance in Hastings, he was childhood friends with the guy that I was with, and he had come home from jiu-jitsu, and I was like, oh, where you been? He's like, oh, I just trained jiu-jitsu, Gracie Allegiance up in Hastings. And he was like, oh, you should come along. And I'd always been, I love watching the fights, this, that, and the other, and I knew something needed to change. And then so I went along. I think I watched for about a week without doing any training, and just the most warm, welcoming environment. And, there was no judgment from anybody, all different shapes, body sizes, professions, everything there. And then started training instantly into like 4 or 5 days, 4 or 5 nights a week, and then the open mats. And it was just after that, I was probably about a month into training, and Friday night was our big open mat night. Friday, man, loved it. Woke up Friday morning and it was like, yeah, it's open mat tonight, 3 hours of hard rolls. And one Friday night, I decided to go get a bag off a person, go get some gear off a person in Napier, and I missed out on the Friday night rolls for the first time. And then when the boys were messaging me asking, oh, bro, you're not coming tonight, I had to lie to my people that were like my clean pathway out, that I was doing something deceitful. Bro, I was smoking crack in public toilets in Napier down by Marineland and stuff, like, just not, it was never a party or anything. Like, it was just, a lot of the time it was a sad, solo, lonely addiction that I had, and I knew I had to get rid of it, but because I probably needed to be medicated in other ways, it felt semi-sustainable for me, for my feelings, staying on that.
Do you feel like that's something that a lot of long-time meth addicts struggle with, is they try and leave those circles like you did, but they always kind of find themselves back in those circles because that is the people that they are naturally now comfortable with?
Yes, I can,
Yeah.
even without knowing, I can answer that question from a migrant point of view. I kept saying to all of my friends that are acquired over the years here, that I was so fortunate to have, that if you don't know someone from like the early age, it's a different type of friendship,
Yeah.
And you've been knowing those people from like the early days,
Yeah.
they've seen you growing up. If they were actually ever your friends, with having a bad influence, this and that, debatable, however.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the point here. But I want to take the Rako here for a second and cut in and be like, well, we saw that was the catalyst. There's a new group of people, of community that took you in without any judgment. You struggled still a little bit, to stay on the path. I guess that's normal, if you had such an powerful substance or substances like influencing your life. But sitting here today, I think you can be proud of yourself, the way you conduct yourself, the way you speak openly about it, like reflecting on it in an honest manner, and showing also people that there's a way, to do it. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
You might fall off the bandwagon
definitely
again.
not
You
easy.
run after it, you jump back on, and you try to stay there with, if it's, and when I say medication now, I mean medication for your ADHD. I know that you're doing your breath work, that you're doing a lot of things to just, I mean, you weighed 160 kgs at some point.
Yeah.
Look at you now. You've got a BJJ. You earned a BJJ purple belt, I should say, because even recently with Tim, we had this conversation. He's aspiring now to, and so does, of course, Ben, to get their blue belt.
Hell yeah.
And just what a journey it is to just get to blue, like
Yeah.
how much
Yeah.
training you have to do to get to blue, which is like, I don't know, like there's different people have different views on where that sits and which one is the highest one, or not the highest one, the hardest one to get. But you lost all that weight, you stayed on track.
Yeah.
And receiving and earning such a belt is I think it's something to be proud of. I mean, that alone
100%.
shows that you have made your way out of the darkness into the light, I guess. And it's not just the belt. It's not just the belt, of course, like from sitting here today. It's also that you are, and that's another thing I want to bring in, you are also part of the New Zealand Mixed Martial Arts Federation as an official.
You right?
You're doing the judging.
Yep.
You're a judge for them. You're doing inspector work for them. And also, because I guess you found your passion / obsession with the martial arts, you're also interested in all the striking and the mixed martial arts, you're involved in events. And then you're like, okay, what else can I do to like fuel my obsession profession? I like to bring those together. You created New Zealand Fight Sports Media as like a media outlet for people to share what you do, what you're passionate about, to keep them informed, to keep them connected. And where I'm trying to go with this is just want to say congratulations, to what you've created and what you've come through, or where you come from and who you are today. I think there's something to definitely be proud of.
Sure was.
And maybe shall we dabble into the role as an official and your, the platform that you created?
Yeah.
Maybe we speak on that to, to get to the next part. I spoke to, funnily enough, yesterday, as part of the preparation, to like an expert/coach on ADHD, to be like, oh, do you have any like final little sprinkles for me to like drizzle into this like beautiful cocktail that we created here today? And she gave me a few pointers. So she was saying that the hyper focus, and that's, I'm going to use the word again, is obsession, makes a lot of sense. I think we concluded that with the jiu-jitsu, because that's all you got to focus on. Otherwise, to put it very blunt, you get fucked up. If someone chokes you out, life goes on. It's not a huge deal, but you got to tap, and then roll starts again. So that we can probably leave that to the side. But she said two more things that I found quite interesting, and maybe you can relate that to either the purple belt, your work as an official, or the platform is that you either have to like leave trails for yourself throughout the day to like cope, or tricking yourself into believe certain things so you can just basically train yourself. Like you dangle the carrot over yourself to be like, I got to do this. Maybe not go over here, How about you speak on this with the three main things that you, from my observation at least, are focused on at the moment?
Yeah. When I started the jiu-jitsu and that, I always loved watching MMA, and I always just thought it would be so cool to be a ref. I was like, man, like everyone goes to the fight nights, it's the front row seats that you want the most. As a judge, bro, I'm face to face with the cage, like I get blood on me and on my sheets and that, like I love the whole side of it. I find the NZ Fight Sports Media, along with working with the MMA officials, and that gives me my creative outlet that I need and want. And I feel like people with ADHD are very creative, but we struggle to put it out there or to be consistent. And to go on with that, with getting the blue belt and the purple belt, I've started things, played rugby for years and years and years, and then we'll have a week off in the middle, and I just lose focus, and I just wouldn't go back and play the rest of the season. I'd just go and do something else. And so I've always been absolutely petrified that I was going to give up jiu-jitsu and regress back to being 160 kilo again. And so just the positive feelings of the training jiu-jitsu and the progress that I've seen from that, I've just been able to, if I stay consistent in jiu-jitsu and just keep doing these same basic things, I can keep progressing and keep making forward steps. When I was down in Hastings, I messaged Neil Swales and Mark Craig and Terry Hill. They're all absolute legends in the fight game in New Zealand. Terry's the New Zealand MMA Federation chair. He's the top dog here in New Zealand. Mark Craig, he goes over and judges and refs for the UFC.
He knows that part too, don't you worry. He just chooses to do that one thing.
Yeah.
So those are just to give a quick context, those are the main bodies as far as it comes to the New Zealand Mixed Martial Arts Federation.
Yes.
Those people operate on the top, and organize all the other people. And yes, Terry is in the Hall of Fame even in New Zealand as far as it comes to martial arts. All like very knowledgeable, driven people to like help evolve the sport that you can learn under, and you follow their footsteps.
Bro, they got such amazing knowledge, and they are so welcoming. I messaged them when I was down in Napier, like, I want to be a ref, I want to be a judge, like what's the pathway here? And they're really working at the moment to create a proper pathway and create these certificates and that, so we are able to get a proper recognised federation in New Zealand as such, because we're still very grassroots in New Zealand, even though we've got international champs and that here. You know, it's crazy. Terry and them, they've just been so lovely to me. They created the pathway, and because they're not gatekeepers, they said, oh, message him, give him a call, you know, he's doing some courses, this, that and the other. I moved up to Hamilton, and Terry Hill told me to come along to it was a beatdown at Core MMA, and I shadow judged him, and we had the same scores all throughout the night, and then I pretty much got the nod from him to work on some smaller shows as a judge, and I just pretty much told everybody my intentions, that I want to be a ref, you know, I want to work as much as possible. I love the whole game. And then, yeah, I've been, far out, I've judged probably 20 odd shows now, and I've reffed 10 or 11 MMA fights now. And the work and the progress and the needing to study the fight game and understand the rules, I find is progress for me, is what my brain needs. I'm being productive, I'm learning something, you know, like, and then alongside that, creating the NZ Fight Sports media, it's a creative outlet for something that I'm chasing in my personal life and dream, and, you know, being a judge and a ref and that, you know, I'd love to judge or ref for a UFC event. That's my goal. I want to be a UFC ref. Like, that's a top goal of mine, you know, and like, I think if you keep sort of progressing, it can be achievable, but there's you know, you've got to judge so many 100 fights, 300 fights a year or whatever it is before you can be even eligible to go and work for a UFC event. And obviously you need all the certification, everything behind that as well. But the creative side with the New Zealand Fight Sports media helps me feel productive. And I just want to put like more focus on these guys that dedicate so much time to training, to martial arts, to fighting. You know, like the top fighters, it's not part-time. These guys aren't part-time. They're 6-7 days a week training, you know, and then they do lunchtime trainings and that. And I just feel like these guys are really dedicated, and women, you know, are dedicating, boys, girls, men, women, you know, everybody is...
All gender.
Fluid. Is... My NZ Fight Sports media is to put light on those people that are dedicating their lives to martial arts. And a lot of the time they're doing the work by themselves or in the gym. You know, it's not a social thing at different clubs, this, that and the other. You know, these one people spend so much time at one gym just working. And I just want to put some light on those people that are dedicating their lives to being warriors, you know. So if I can hit up an interview with someone or share a page or do a video on a reaction to an event that I went to and tag them in it and share, it's just more eyes on the sport. And it's sort of my way of like giving back to the sport for what people put into it, you know. Like, does that make sense, kind of thing? Like,
You're just the passion that you talk about with is incredible. And I just had to go back a few pages to go to my note on attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. If you just look at the words, you're fully defeating the deficit by now, or well, you found it a wee while ago. Your obsession, your passion, the thing that you are interested most in, you know. And even if you can't train physically because you're injured at the moment as well, jiu-jitsu as such, you can still do the reffing, you can still do the judging, you can still be an inspector for the New Zealand Mixed Martial Arts Federation. You can still do from the phone, you can do your research on the computer, you can still fuel yourself without like having to use your body on that. So safe to say that you found your own little remedy, your little mix to be not just happy and fulfilled in life, also to like, you know, look forward to what is yet to come. And that is the next thing that I have on the list here is the future, or like the forecast is, you know, you're at purple already. There's no way of stopping now. I think you're too
deep in the game, too deep in.
So I'm assuming the things that you aspire is you want to become a black belt at some point. You want to grow as a member of the Mixed Martial Arts Federation here in New Zealand, and you want to grow the platform, New Zealand Fight Sports Media. You can pick and choose one of them, maybe, that you can speak on where you want to take this and what your approach there is going to be.
1000% I'll be a black belt at some stage. I just, obviously, as you're saying, too deep in the game now to give up. It's my outlet and my productivity. And everybody in life has to do something. So many people go through life doing nothing, like Joey Diaz says, like do something, play a recorder, write a book, like do something. And I just felt like for so long I was such a negative person, just surrounded by negative energy and all that type of thing. And then now realizing, getting off the meth and being clean, because when I was on meth, a lot of people used to say, when you're a crackhead or a meth addict, you never give up, you just stop for a long time. And that stuck with me because I was like, nah, I'm not going to just start it up again in another couple of years type of thing, like I'm going to defeat that. And for a long time, it felt like I hadn't given up the meth, I had stopped. I was still getting the urges and, I should get a Q, like a quarter gram, like just real negative stuff. And then doing the jiu-jitsu and the martial arts and the fight sports media and then getting my purple belt and that, it's giving me that productivity and my creative outlet that I don't need the dopamine from the meth. I get the dopamine from, shaking hands with Izzy and Dan, Dan Hooker and Aaron Toe and like Ray Seffel and that, last night I worked as inspector at Stealth Fight League in Auckland, and just the people that I'm around and the being productive in that world is my dopamine, man. That's my hit. I don't need the meth anymore, man, like, bro, I'll go and happily work till midnight and drive an hour and a half home from Auckland, like,
Because it makes you
love
fucking
it,
happy.
man. I love it. The fight game is sick, bro, and the nicest people I've ever met are martial artists, bro. Some of the most dangerous people around are the nicest people. And bro, that's why I love everything to do with all the grappling and everything, bro, because the hierarchy's laid out on the mat. You know who can beat you and you know who you can beat. Like the boys, bro, you get lickings from them all the time, like, bro, and you gotta love it. And the people that don't love it don't stay in the gym for long, like, just, man, the martial arts is the path, man. Like, just, it's betterment. It's people that are around you. You're working. No one's getting more amount of weight. You're not talking about these random TV shows and series wasting your time, like the boys are in there training, like, bro, you're texting each other, bro, should we go hit the sauna tomorrow morning, like, should we get in some training? We got some mats at my place, bro, come over. Yeah.
I'm so hydrated.
Bro, yeah, bro, and that's the thing, like with training hard, bro, you hydrate because you sweat all the time, like, there's so many things that help in the whole holistic side of things from the martial arts because it's productive and because it's a genuine, good, healthy thing to do. Like, as I say, like, I'm doing a bit of coaching, at the moment. And the other night, Titus Proctor, literally 2 nights after he won his world Muay Thai middleweight belt, he was in learning arm bars from guard at the gym that I'm training at.
Are you hinting something here?
He on the NZ Fight Sports Media side of things, Titus Proctor, he's going over to Thailand and he's got a fight at Ramadan Stadium, the big stadium over there. Ramadan Stadium, I'm mismarking that name up. He's going to have the Glory contract makers there, Glory Kickboxing contract makers, and the One Championship contract makers there watching his fight. And if he puts on a show, he could potentially sign to both of them. So, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Why is he learning arm bars then?
Bro, their whole gym, these dudes, a few of the boys, bro, have been training Muay Thai for 15 years, and bro, they're falling in love with grappling.
It's all good.
Let them do
their thing. Whatever they aspire to do.
Artists. Bro, these dudes are strikers there, and they're coming in and learning grappling, when for a long time there was a big division between grappling and striking, and then now some of these boys that are top strikers are doing a bit of grappling, and they're like, man, this shit's fun, like, and then it's helping them cross train because it's different muscles that you're using, it's different cardio, so the whole cross training thing that you guys talked about on your previous podcast with Mark Choplivier and Paris Tatterall from Riverside Jiu-Jitsu here in Hamilton, they were talking about how important the cross training is to rounding out your game. And as just quickly saying before, when I trained, my original jiu-jitsu is Gracie Legence down in Hastings, which is, where Clark Gracie, Carly Gracie, and then you're straight into, like, Helio. Like, it's it's a very traditional way of grappling. We play a lot of time on our back, we play a lot of guard, whereas here in Hamilton, cross training, you guys are all wrestlers and MMA boys. No one wants to be pinned on their back, you know. It's all, everyone wants to get on top. And so that whole cross training thing, I think, is just so important for everybody. Going to those other gyms, it is nervous walking into another gym when they're a group of killers. But then you get on the mats and, you know, hit a couple of pads or slap knuckles and get into a roll. And then you realize everyone's happy. You know, it's just such a positive place. Gyms and fight gyms and that are just positive places to be, where growth is welcomed and nurtured.
Amen. There's nothing to add. Yeah. So, but to give the summary, do you want to maybe, because
Sorry, I scrambled there.
That's absolutely fine.
My ADHD.
Black belt, usually like a very ish number would be 10 years.
Yep.
Do you have like did you put like a goal or a timeline on yourself when you want to be there and aspire that to get?
Nah, it's definitely more.
Receive, I should say.
Yeah. It's more for me a level. I want to be at a level when I get my black belt. You know, like as Damien Smith had always said to us at Gracie Allegiance, when you get your blue belt, you're not borderline a blue belt. You're at blue belt level when we give it to you. You know, like. So I want to be at that level before I get my black belt. No time frame, you know, like I had surgery, got my ACL reattached earlier on this year. I've been training for just under 7 years now. Like, yeah, I definitely don't have a time frame on it, but 100% I'll be a black belt. Just how it's changed my life and impacted my life. I just want to try and share that with so many other people, you know. And as a black belt, I definitely want to run and have a gym. Nice. Just... Yeah, I've been saying this from blue belt, you know, like I got into it, pretty much got my blue belt, and I was like, man, this is the business, you know, like, and everybody knows that's in martial arts or anything. No one starts a gym to be rich. There's no people that are making massive amounts of money off teaching 50 people how to do jiu-jitsu type of thing. You know, obviously there's ways in business to leverage it and create those opportunities. Right. Yeah. You're a pretty big family. Yeah, but true. I definitely, I will get my black belt. I don't have a timeline for it. Just under 7 years. 10, 11 years realistically. I train hard, I compete hard, and I'm dedicated to it. And we'll have a black belt. I will have a gym, and
just the way you speak about it, I have no doubt that you're gonna get there.
I just love it, man. You know, like my Instagram name's Top Pressure. You know, like. I like being chest to chest cooking fools, man, you know, like, bro, I love it, you know, like this whole leg lock game and all this, that, and the other, it's cool, but, bro, if you're going to be chest to chest on someone and then fall back onto maybe a heel hook or something, you know, or people are giving up top positions or dominant positions to fall onto a transition onto the legs, like, that's not my thing. I understand the leg game and respect it.
Now that your future opponents know your game, though.
That's cool, bro. I've known from the start.
Even from the Instagram handle, it's just like, his name is Top Pressure.
Yeah. But I let them know what's happening, bro. You know, like.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward, you know, like with the black belt, what you said, where you want to go, growing in the federation, you know, like going, maybe reffing or judging in the UFC or being part of that organization, and
just staying in that world.
With the platform, it's like giving back, linking up with people, and like showing them the way, showing love, and just spreading the word of, you know, of how great it is and what you can
change.
Also, changing the trajectory and perspective as far as it comes to, you know, grappling, striking, cross training, whatever, you know, whatever you I mean, so far it seems to work, you know, and a lot of people jump on board. You're doing your interviews, you know, it's building, you know, it is growing. So it seems like you've got a pathway there as well. Long story short, are we coming to a point now where I've been bombarding you with a lot of questions? Now you can have the chance to like either spit a question back to me or to the boys, or if that's not the case, you can pick and choose a topic or subject, something that we forgot about, or maybe someone else has something that we maybe should cover, because it would just like put the cherry on the cake here.
Well, we're all grapplers here. All four of us here today are grapplers. Do you guys find the martial arts and the grappling or the striking, do you guys have, obviously, sorry, I'll reword this again. Does training martial arts and striking and grappling, does that help alleviate your guys' mental problems? Your, not maybe problems, but everybody has their highs and lows, whether you're neurotypical or neurodiverse. Do you guys find martial arts help you guys? Do you guys find the same thing in that meditative state that I find? Do you guys also experience that?
I do a quick yes. Tim, sorry, Ben first.
Yeah, like I'm neurotypical, but it's just like, regardless of whatever's happened during the week, whatever I've got on, stepping onto the mat, it's like, this is my focus for the next 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't matter if I get like just grounded into the mat or if I get like little wins here and there. It, like, whether I had a quote unquote successful training or not, just having one thing to focus on for 2 hours is like, I look forward to that like every evening.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, there's nothing else that matters for this next 2 hours other than not getting choked out or not getting armbarred. You know, it's like, this is just the
Stepping on the mat's the win, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, we're all working towards something and it's still training.
Yeah.
But I think from a holistic level, it's just, I'm there to focus on this.
Yep.
Put whatever else is happening to the side for 2 hours.
Yep.
You know, like, I've found nothing else in life for me personally has pulled that level of focus that doesn't let anything else creep in.
Yep.
It's like, this is it.
Yeah, man.
And if you're doing it with people that you enjoy doing it with as well, then, you know, you're also...
Gym culture's a big thing, isn't it?
Exactly. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Echo everything you just said there, Ben. To add to that, there's a lot of identity in martial arts that boosts me up. I've got 2 young sons, and I love when they're watching me train or they're seeing me hang out with friends who also train. I feel like it's giving them a good mirror to look at. It also reinforces a more of a masculine energy that I probably need more of.
Yep.
And furthermore to that was a track record of success. Like yourself, I had my own drug of choice, and same thing. It's always something I've been battling with, like, oh, what if I'm going to go back? It's something I can look back on and be like, no, you can do this. You had a fight in Easy Fury, Tim. You do this. And you train with guys who are 30 kilos heavier than you all the time. Like, this is nothing.
Yep.
You can do this. And it just gives you that confidence that's tangible, it's real. The social circle, you're spending time with people who are getting hyped on sleep and hydration and nutrition. The conversations are just different. They're not talking about reality TV. And everyone's authentic. And there's such a cross-section of personalities, I've noticed. Like, when we're hanging out as the crew, everyone's an expert sort of in their own different area. And there's so many different personalities, but it's bound together through martial arts.
Yeah.
I almost feels a little bit similar to what it felt like growing up in a church environment, just without some of the controlling aspects.
Yeah. As you're saying, sorry, the professions of the people, you have gang members, you have brain surgeons, you have doctors, you have policemen, all training on the mat together, that you wouldn't necessarily hang out with outside of that gym environment. But while you guys are there, you've all got a common thing that you're going for. You know, like, I've seen top policemen rolling with some top dogs that are patched up, you know, and there's not even any malice in between them in the role, you know, like it's an understanding when you're on the mats that you're there for the martial art. You're there respecting the gym, you're there respecting the mats and respecting your teammates by just doing the sport, you know, and like, I just love that, you know, like, it's got, such martial arts has such a deep background of respect and, you know, and loyalty in that, you know, and as you're saying, it's with the young fella, I've got my young fella, you know, he's a 3-tip white belt. I love him growing up around the people, being at the gym, seeing people that just want to get strong, train 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, you know, like, it just puts that positive reinforcement into them, you know, like, we're just hustling, getting this done, and then, you know, they see us doing that, and it's far more likely for them to follow our footsteps than to them get wayward in life and, you know, be thrown around by social engineering as such, you know, when if you're just like, man, the gym is the shit, you know, and like, my young fellas come to me and see me get washed up at comps before, you know, and like, cool, you know, like, it's all good, man, you know, like, I'll be back at training on Tuesday and we're straight back into it. Yeah. And so,
I want to add one more thing as well, I forgot, is body image and confidence. I think you touched on it before we started, was going to a traditional gym. It always felt like being jacked was the goal. You know, lifting weights, getting building muscle, right? That's why you're there.
The biggest dude was the
Correct.
black belt.
100%. Whereas when I went to a martial arts gym, it was the first space where I went to where I started actually verbally hearing people say things about my body in a positive way that had nothing to do with the way it looked, but rather what damage it could inflict on someone.
Yeah.
Oh, good range. Oh, you're flexible. You know, like, oh, yeah, it's hard to hold him. Like, oh, it's not about six packs or big muscles. Everybody's body type had a different way of using it, and that just completely flipped the script on how I
If you're looking at positivity about how the person's body is instead of a negative thing, oh, you can't do this, can't do that.
I'm not that, rather than I am this.
Yeah.
And then as a consequence of time and repetition, I'm now starting to build muscle and see what I've always wanted to see.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's so fucking
Yeah, straight.
Well, look at you. You lost so much weight from 160 kgs to this now. You know, look at your arms and chest.
yeah, man.
He lost almost 30 kgs,
That's
you know.
sick, man.
Tim now has muscle that he had
I've
no
never had
clue.
chest.
Yeah, bro, it's sick, it's sick.
And does it make you feel good?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Bro, martial arts is the way. Martial arts is the life. And obviously you've got a big background in martial arts too, don't you?
Yes.
You're a striker and a grappler. You're a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu, aren't you? Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Right.
You're a striker as well. So obviously you've been around the gym environments. You trained over in Germany as well. So quick question, how is the gym culture in general different from Germany to New Zealand?
Good question.
Right question.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Efficient.
Not allowed to drink. Not allowed to like leave the.
that. Yeah, that's just the way it is though. But
You know, your case with the ADHD and, you know, your life story is very individualized.
Yep.
The gym and the karate gym, and then later on the pancreation, and then, you know, merging this all together was very, very traditional. Goju Ryo, which actually Sensei Terry Hill falls under as well.
Yeah.
So Terry Hill knows my sensei from Germany.
Far out, that's so cool.
Yeah, they train under the same federation, but yeah, it was very strict, you know, like even the way the dressing room looks to every night it's a cleanup. You know, you had to like spit shine, you know, bowing on and off. You had to wear your, still to this day, I went home last year and you still, of course, you know, that's not changing. You have to wear your wabaki, your genders, you know, when you get off.
Yeah.
There's no drinking, there's only like, even when something is explained, you know, there's not like people like slouching on the mat. Like, you stand up, you pay attention, you go, and the practice is done. And this is another big one, when the practice is done, you know, here in New Zealand, or I guess, you know, you can go to like an open mat that's different, or you have those like hour blocks. Back home, when you rock up to practice, you better not have any plans afterwards, because you never, like, I never knew how, like, it was like an ish, can be anything from like an hour and 15 to like 3 maybe. Yeah, and there's no, you don't talk back.
So they're getting through the curriculum regardless of how long it takes, kind of thing, of what they want to
whatever the
relay
goal
that
was,
night.
whatever the sensei or whoever was instructing the class was seeing, and whatever they wanted to accomplish or get out of the session, until that was completed, like, you stay.
Cool.
And then afterwards, you know, you would that collaborative thing of like cleaning up together. You know, someone was like, okay, guys, let's put our hands up. Who is and it was we would do Japanese scrubbing the mats. So like, you put it down, you know, like how you see it in the old down, and then you walk through the dojo. And who was on mopping, who was on vacuum cleaning, who was looking after the bathrooms, who was looking after this. And no one left, or at least the majority, the people who had like a certain ranking, I should say, because you have the sensei, you have the senpai, you have the kohai, and, you know, so and so. Those people, and until everything was done and everyone was like happy, or the sensei was like, yeah, we can go home, or even if he would then say, we all gonna go for some food now. There is no maybe, or I think about it, or my girlfriend, so there's like, hi, you go.
Far out.
Nothing
That's cool
else.
though.
So it's very strict, which I guess helped me a lot. However, to go back to your question, the answer is also yes. You know, every single person in this room, on this planet, you know, goes through challenges, trials, tribulations. That's absolutely normal, and you have to accept it. But what I've been enjoying as of late, recent, however, for a while now, is just being a mixed martial artist. You know, I can choose between having a gi class, because core mixed martial arts here in Hamilton, like, what a blessing in the sky to have this place, you know. Everything is there. I can walk in on the Monday, and depending on how I feel or what my mood is, I'll be like, oh, I had a really big day, you know, like mentally, you know, maybe my grandma's a bit sick, or, you know, like, I just want to get some energy out. I just want to go to the Iceman Ethan Shep's class
Yep.
and hit some pads for like an hour to just like get all the demons out. And there's most likely someone going to be there on a high level who can like pad me up
Yep.
super well. And I was like, oh, you know what? I just want to be technical today. I put my gear on, you know, and feel the tradition, feel the
Yep.
philosophy, and, you know, engage with people on a different level. Because then you can almost, within the society, you have those micro societies. There's some people who only do, for example, gi jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
some people who only enjoy the kickboxing aspect for whatever reason, whatever their deal is in life, you
Yep.
know, which is beautiful. But sometimes I can even just walk in with all my gear packed and be like, I feel this and I want to do this.
Yeah.
Or, man, Toby Fitzpatrick, Commonwealth wrestler for New Zealand, is like, he comes in with this, like, he has this like energy that you just cannot replicate or explain, you know.
He's
And then
such a
it's
good
like,
dude.
oh, I want to pull up my socks, put on my wrestling gear, and I just want to wrestle today, and I
Yeah.
want to learn from him, you know. Or if you are into a mixed martial arts class, you know, like, oh, sweet, tonight
Yeah.
I want to do this. Or even on the weekend, like you said, you link up with people, you do X, Y, Z, but, you know, just enjoying everything that is on offer. And then obviously feel better afterwards from the conversations, from the training, from the learning, and everything that falls
Yeah.
under that, you know,
Yeah.
particular term. Is there anything else, boys? Because I don't want to. That's a no?
No.
That's a no. You happy?
Yeah, man. Martial arts is
I
the
think
path.
now it went so well we can only fuck it up. So I reckon big thank you, of course, to Ben Anthony Wilson, full name, and Timothy Stevens from Adapt Media, for like covering this. I'm just someone with a vision, and, you know, just want to provide, just like you, a platform for people that aspire,
Awesome.
inspire to, you know, because we all can relate to a certain degree to whatever we do or whatever we struggle with, you know. And if there's someone out there that can take a piece from today, beautiful, job's
Yeah.
already done. So I would like you both in, I mean, you can give your approach about Adapt Media and how people can get hold of you, but also if you want to flick us a message on Instagram, for example, or via Facebook, if you have any media requirements, Ben and Tim, they're both available, and then we could just, let's say, distribute whoever's expertise it falls under, you know, can help you guys to, like, if it's a wedding, we said that in the past, if it's a photo shoot for something, if you want to get content created for your business, just reach out to us, and then we point you into the right direction and who to work with. But boys, please come in, and let's give the last few words, Tim and Ben, please, and then we leave it to Troy to farewell us.
The other guys behind the cameras. Kia ora everybody, Tim from Adapt Media. Thanks for tuning in. So I'm in a bit of a transition space at the moment where I'm moving off the tools and moving more into a teaching and coaching role. So if you're a business owner or you work inside a business and you want to create your own content, but you're just not sure where to start, or you have someone in your business who's really into it, but you just kind of want a little bit higher quality.
You want a sensei in your life.
Yeah, so I'll come and show them a thing or two, work with them and coach them on how they can direct, just like what this man's been doing the whole time, or edit on software, basically.
Cool.
That was a pretty short way of explaining that, but yeah, here to help.
And Ben Anthony Wilson, my full legal name. I'm just a man with a camera, so happy to do stuff like this and more. But yeah.
Troy, last words to you then.
I just want to thank all you guys, really. It's obviously my life has been a journey for me and a constant change of things, and being able to have a platform like this where I'm all sort of able to tell my story and the things that I've learned to maybe help some other people not have to go so far down those dark paths before dragging themselves back out. as you're saying, if one person can take one thing that was said and discussed here today, then everybody's a win.
Correct.
That's-
Any
yeah.
shout outs? Anything that you want to plug? Anything?
Plug the network.
Yeah. NZ Fight Sports Media on Instagram. Any fighters, if you guys want to do an interview with me or a yak or a yarn or anything, message me up. Doesn't always have to be one way. I want to thank you guys, man. This is sick. I just appreciate this. This is an awesome opportunity for everybody, and I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it. Thanks, mate. Yeah, but this is sick. It's awesome, man.
Are we
this
wrapping
is
it
what it's
up?
about.
All right, on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, that was tight. Damn, that was tight.